Betty and your host, Cynthia Thompson. I want to ask you all a question out there. I don't know about you, but I have never been on jury duty. And I've often wondered, what's it like? How do they pick the people? What do they do? Is it the way it is on TV and the movies? Well, today, you're in for a treat because my guest today is going to share with us what really happens, how they pick the people, what they do, what they can and can't do, and all those things. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am so glad you're here because I've often wondered what happens in jury duty. But before we start, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm the Community Access and Outreach Administrator here in Mecklenburg County for the 26th Judicial District. And part of my responsibilities are to try to educate the public as best I can about the court system here in Charlotte.
Well, I have a list of questions for you, and I hope we have time to get through all of them.
Great.
The first one, when a person says that they are on jury duty, you normally hear a lot of complaining and griping and moaning. But today, I want you to share with us why it's so important for people not to complain about it and the importance of it. My first question is, and this is an easy one, what exactly is a jury?
Right. Well, a jury is a group of citizens, generally 12, who are selected completely at random. They come to the courthouse and they may or may not be selected to actually sit on a trial. So it's just regular citizens from all walks of life who are randomly summoned to come to the courthouse.
So why is it so important for them to be a part of this process?
Well, our system is founded in this concept of a jury of one's peers, and you know, we've been doing it this way for hundreds of years now. So it's very important that people respond and that they serve. Otherwise, we would not be able to do the work that we do in the courthouse.
You know, before we get too far into what jury duty is about, let's talk about the court system, period, because I bet a lot of people probably don't know anything about the court system.
Right. In North Carolina is a unified court system, so all courts operate basically the same way in all 100 counties. Mecklenburg is the largest of the judicial districts. We process on average about 250,000 cases each year, just in Mecklenburg alone.
You know, when you talk about going to court, people know that there's a judge and there's the clerk of court, but who are some of the other people in that courtroom and what are their jobs?
Sure. Well, you're going to have the judge, as you said, the clerk, who assists the judge in the courtroom. You're also going to have at least one or two bailiffs in the courtroom. Bailiffs are deputy sheriffs who work security at the courthouse. They also work with the jurors and make sure folks are safe. More than likely, if you're in Superior Court on a jury trial, you're going to see a court reporter. That person's sitting generally in the middle of the courtroom, taking down everything that's said during the duration of the trial. We do have interpreters who often are in the courtroom who are interpreting for folks who do not speak or understand English.
So you had mentioned a Superior Court room.
Right.
What are some of the other types?
Well, in North Carolina, actually North Carolina has a very streamlined court system. At the sort of the bottom of the ladder are the magistrates. We have criminal magistrates and we have civil magistrates. Civil magistrates preside over the small claims cases. These are lawsuits up to $5,000 in amounts. The next level would be district court. District court presides over, on the criminal side, they preside over the misdemeanor crimes, speeding, domestic violence, DWIs, simple assaults, things of that nature. On the civil side, they preside over the family courts and the juvenile courts. Superior Court, on the criminal side, they preside over the serious, the felonies. So your murders, robberies, drug trafficking, rape, things of that nature. And on the civil side, they preside over lawsuits $25,000 and above.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. But you know, let's take a short break, and when we get back, we're going to get back on the jury duty. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Are you getting this, honey?
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards!
Oh, don't. Oh,
It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay, here it comes.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. Let's go.
They might surprise you.
Let's go.
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Betty. I'm your host, Cynthia Thompson. We're talking about jury duty. Now, before we went on break, you gave us a little background about the different types of courts and the different people that work in the courts. But the jury duty, how are people selected for it? You said at random, but I've never been called.
Well, and that's because it truly is random. You may get summons tomorrow, who knows? But we get our records from Department of Motor Vehicles and voter registration. So if you are licensed to drive in Mecklenburg County and or you're registered to vote, your name is in our database. We download those records once a year and merge them into our database.
Now, a person, if they are selected for jury duty, do they get a phone call, a letter, an email? How do you reach out to them?
Right, they would receive a summons in the mail. Goes out in the mail. We summons between 4,000 and 5,000 folks every month in Mecklenburg. So the summons goes out in the U.S. mail. We don't make phone calls. We don't send emails. It's all done through the mail.
So what's on this letter?
Right, you're going to have a 9-digit juror number that's distinct to that individual. And it's going to have all kinds of reporting information, the date and time, location. There's a detailed map with parking instructions, and just some general things that folks need to know before they come down to the courthouse.
If by chance a person couldn't come to jury duty, what do they need to do?
Well, hopefully they would have let us know that well in advance. If not, we will send them what's called a failure to appear notice, and that goes out in the mail as well. And hopefully they'll respond to that. We will reschedule them and give them another opportunity to serve.
Oh, okay. So they're not arrested if they don't show up?
Not at first.
Not at first. That's the key.
Right. You do need to respond to that summons. After so many attempts, we will issue, it's called an order to show cause. So if after so many attempts you haven't responded to the summons in any way, we will issue a show cause. The sheriff will come out to your house and issue this. And then you'll have to come down to the courthouse and explain to a judge why, after numerous attempts, you couldn't respond to the summons.
So it's important to respond to that.
It's very important. We do take it very seriously.
So what happens to a person, and I'll just have to use myself as an example because I'm really bad at this. Sometimes I don't check my mail for a couple of weeks. I just let it stack up. I miss it because I didn't check my mail or open it.
We do send the summons out about 30 days in advance.
Okay.
So But you know, again, if you, and that probably is the number one excuse that we get is I forgot. So again, we do allow the failure to appear, and we do send you the notice just to remind you. But you know, you can reschedule yourself if the date we initially assign you is not convenient for you. You can reschedule yourself. We try to work with folks as best we can.
So is this process the same for state and federal cases? Because we're talking about local cases, right?
Correct. We, the Mecklenburg County courts are operated by the state of North Carolina, which is separate from the federal courts, which is here in Charlotte is the U.S. Western District of North Carolina. It's a little bit different. We use the one-day, one-trial system in Mecklenburg, so we're calling in jurors every day of the week. If you don't get selected to actually serve on a trial the first day that you're there, you'll go home at the end of the day and you won't have to come back. If you are selected to serve on a trial, most of the trials last about 2 to 3 days normally. And everybody thinks, you know, all we do are murder trials every day, but you know, that's not the case. Usually most of them last about 2 to 3 days.
When you're going through your randomly chosen jurors, what are some of the legal qualifications that they must fall under in order to be a juror?
Right, it's a good question. Well, you have to be at least 18.
18.
You have to be a United States citizen. You have to be a resident of the county, in this case Mecklenburg. You have to be able to understand English, speak and understand English. If you have some sort of physical or mental disability that would prevent you from serving, generally we'll excuse you for that. We just need some sort of documentation from a doctor or health provider. If you're on active military duty, we generally excuse for that. Again, we just need some sort of documentation. If you've been convicted of a felony and you're still on probation, you're not eligible to serve. However, once you're off probation, your citizenship rights are restored and you are technically eligible to serve as a juror. So.
Oh, I did not know that.
And then once you reach the age of 72, jury service becomes an option for you. It's not an automatic excuse. So if you do reach the age of 72 or you are 72 and you do get a summons, you know, we can excuse you, but you do need to notify us in writing that you want us to do that. So it's not an automatic excuse.
So you don't check their date of birth whenever you go through that random search?
Right. It's the records that we get. Again, if we automatically excused, we would be age discrimination. So
that is right.
Right. So we don't want to do that. So because some people do want to serve and they are still healthy enough to serve at that age. So.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to ask you some questions about what they can and can't do when they serve on a jury.
Okay.
Okay?
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Welcome back to Betty. I'm your host, Cynthia Thompson. I'm here with Charles, and he's explaining the jury system and how it happens, what do you do, what you don't do. Now, before we went on break, I was going to ask you some things that they can and can't do. One, can they bring their laptop to do work?
They can.
Oh, they can?
It will have to go through security, and the sheriff will have to verify that it's a working laptop. But folks are able to bring electronics into the county courthouse.
Is there a dress code?
We usually say business to business casual. Some people have different interpretations of that. But,
That's true.
But you have to realize that you may actually wind up serving on a trial that day. So we suggest you dress appropriately in a business fashion.
Do you provide any special training, like when they come into the room before you even start?
Yes, all jurors have to go through a live orientation, and then they watch a video orientation, and then they have to take an oath. And
oh, they do?
They do, and then after that, it's pretty much a waiting situation.
During a court case, what are the responsibilities of the people that are on jury duty?
Listening. Listening closely, watching what's going on in the courtroom, but just paying attention, listening to what's being said. Jurors aren't allowed to discuss the case amongst themselves, even during lunch or when they go home at night.
Really?
Right. They can't discuss anything about the case until everything has been presented and the judge has given them their instructions and it's time for them to deliberate.
So after the case, after they hear the case, they can go home? They don't have to go to a hotel?
Right. We don't sequester jurors, so they report generally if they're actually on a trial, usually around 9 o'clock each day. They go out to lunch, usually around 12 or 12:30, come back from lunch, and then they do go home generally around 5 o'clock each night. So we don't sequester jurors.
So do they get paid to do this?
They do get paid. They get paid $12 whole for the first day that they're there.
$12?
Not a lot of money. After the first day, then days 2 through 4, they get paid $20 a day. 5 and beyond, it's $40 a day. Again, it's not a lot of money, but hopefully that'll pay for their lunch and maybe transportation. We do provide them with free parking while they serve, so they don't have to worry about that. And we also have free child care on site as well for jurors.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Because I bet a lot of parents wonder, what am I going to do with my baby?
Right. We do have a licensed daycare facility on site for the public, which is free.
Do you think that this whole process of selecting juries, people to serve on juries, or our whole court system is going to change?
I don't think so. I mean, we've been doing it this way for hundreds of years now. We are one of the few countries in the world that allows its citizens to actively participate in its system of justice. Jury service is really the only obligation of the private citizen to the government. So the system works. It's been in place for a long time now, so I really don't see it changing anytime soon.
With social media being so rampant out there, how do you all monitor if the people serving on a jury are discussing the case with anyone else?
Right. The judge gives them specific instructions throughout the trial that they're not to be discussing the case. These days, that does include social media. It hasn't been a problem in Mecklenburg. I have read articles from other jurisdictions across the country where it has been an issue.
Oh, really?
Right. But so far in Mecklenburg, social media hasn't really been an issue.
How do you think we're going to address that problem when it comes to this area? Because I'm sure it's going to happen.
Well, yeah, you're probably right. Unfortunately, folks could be held in contempt of court if they are, caught discussing the trial or doing their own research or posting things about the trial before the trial is over.
Do you think, I just want to ask you some other questions about jury duty. So let's take a short break, and when we come back, I want to ask you some questions that you probably haven't had a chance to address yet.
Great.
Okay?
Yes, sure.
All right.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who do something, the people who take action, are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Bring this one.
Welcome to A Better You. I'm your host, Cynthia Thompson. I'm here with Charles, and we're talking about jury duty. Now, Charles, a couple questions for you that you may or may not have heard before. No, the first one, let me back up. Is there a such thing as a jury duty month or a celebration day for being on jury or anything like that?
There is. In Mecklenburg, we set aside the entire month of July as Juror Appreciation Month. And part of that month, we have Juror Appreciation Week. And during that week, we do some special things for the jurors. We have movies and popcorn. We also have a free chair massage. Local masseuse comes in and provides free chair massage. We often have live music playing in the jury assembly room that week. So just some extra things that week to thank the citizens who do serve, also to raise awareness of the importance of jury service.
So that's in July?
That is in the month of July.
For one of the weeks?
Correct.
So if I'm called in July, I need to go, huh?
That's the month you want to go. Yeah, that's the month you want to go.
You know, with all of these television programs, that the law dramas that we have on TV now, do you think that they have swayed people's views of being on a jury?
I do. You know, it's called the CSI effect. So
yes.
You have a jury in the box, and it's a criminal trial, and you know, folks want DNA, and they want, you know, they think that there's all sorts of devices out there that detect, you know, body fluids and things like that, and the reality is those things just don't exist. You know, also you can't try a case in an hour, or, you know, or 50 minutes like they do on you know, these TV shows. So you know, sometimes it takes days, and sometimes weeks, or sometimes months. And that's, you know, the job, the prosecutors and the defense attorneys, they oftentimes have a difficult time because jurors expect these things when they come to the courthouse, and that's just not the reality.
It's not. So do you think people are disappointed when they see that that's not the case?
Probably so. Probably so, because they, like I said, they watch these shows and they think that when they come to the courthouse, this is what it's going to be. But unfortunately, it's just not that way.
I know that you do a lot with our North Carolina court system. What are some other things that you do there?
My role with the courts here is public relations. So I will work with the media pretty much on a daily basis. Also work a lot with the local schools. We have school groups come to the courthouse. We go out into the schools. So we do a lot to try to educate our citizenry here in Mecklenburg County about our court system, because it is so important. And there's a lot of misinformation out there, and you know, we combat the TV shows and things like this. I always tell kids when they come to the courthouse, you know, court is very boring. Even for jury service, it can be boring. It's not as exciting as what you might see on TV. You know, there's a lot of downtime, there's a lot of paper shuffling, things of that nature that go on in the courtroom. So, but I would invite the public to come down to the courthouse. You know, all of our courtrooms are open to the public every day. Anyone can come down and watch a trial any day of the week.
Oh, really?
Yes.
One last question for you. Do you think the way that we handle our criminals is going to change as far as the court system is today? Do you think that we're going to be using more, I don't want to say virtual trials where you just watch it on a monitor? Do you think we'll ever get to that point, or will we be the way we are now, where you go into a room with a group of 12 people and the judge, the jury?
Right. There's some jurisdictions I know across the country have or are currently utilizing a lot of the virtual appearance for courts. We actually have our first appearance court for felonies. Inmates appear remotely from the jail in the courtroom via a video screen. We're also doing some mental health hearings now via video remotely. So it's starting to happen. Unfortunately, our technology budget has been cut drastically in recent years. So I don't know how long it will be before we get to a higher level with that. So, but we are seeing some of that in our courts, and we do have some technology in our courts, that evidence display systems and things of that nature. So.
Well, Charles, I want to thank you for coming. I learned a lot today.
Great. Thank you for having me.
I did not know anything about jury duty because I've never been called, and it's okay if you don't call me.
Yeah.
Come.
It's not as bad as it seems, I promise.
Just call me in July.
Okay, we'll do that.
And I want to thank each and every one of you for watching my show, A Better You, every weeknight. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching my show, A Better You, every Wednesday night here on Public Access 21. Thank you so much.
Thank you.